All right, welcome everybody to Saturday Night Free Enterprise. I am joined on commentary by Poydrak. Invenerable is handling restreaming duties for us, and Crimson Avix is covering tracking duties for us tonight. We have a very interesting kind of new thing we're trying out tonight, don't we, Poydrak?
We do. Over the last few months, there's been a few things going around called Router's Relish and Spoiler Races. It's a new sort of concept for the free enterprise community to just get their teeth into. And tonight we're going to showcase it a little bit more on the Spoiler Race. Our runners have been given 15 minutes to look over a spoiler. They do have as much time as they want to finish the seed because they have this spoiler log for the entirety of it. But if they want to go quick, they need to read quick.
Yep, they have 15 minutes here to go over the spoiler log that they've been given. And that spoiler log lays out everything they need to know, where all the key items are at, what characters are where. We have just everything laid out in front of us. So it's going to be really interesting to see what they do with that information and where they decide to go.
Indeed. Right. Flag set isn't your typical one. There are a few interesting changes. Experience-wise, there's no experience for if your characters are behind. Right, so there's no sort of slingshot strategies. You can still grind as much as you want for those levels, but it takes a little bit longer for the lower level ones to get the experience necessary. There is the Witchburn flag, which also randomizes Wyvern's spell. Now, also you won't see that start off Mega Nuke. It's very unlikely. You'll see it start with something else.
In line with the experience part, there's also no sirens, so they're going to be very creative in how they grind and level up. And we know for a fact that we're going to be starting with Cecil.
Yeah, but that will be the only Cecil we see in this seed, because the no Cecil flag has also been raised. It's just one Cecil. Everyone else is available. Just need to find them and know what you're doing with them. So we've also been given the spoiler log, so we sort of know where everything is as well. What came to your mind when you first looked at it?
So right off the bat, we know we have an early crystal. The crystal itself is in Baron Inn. Let me look through here and see what boss we're anticipating in that spot.
We're anticipating in the Kaipo Guards in the first spot, which is at the Baron Guard's usual spot, and Antlion at the second spot. So that second spot isn't exactly free to just go in there and pick it up straight away, because Antlion does do physical damage with his hits, and that spot hits quite hard.
Yeah, I was digging through the log as well, and as far as gaining an easy Fusuya, I'm seeing Fusuya in the Kaipo spot and the Cave Eblin spot for pickup. But as far as easy access to either of those spots, looks like the Sand Ruby is on the moon, and the hook is deep in the underground. So I don't anticipate any of our runners going after Fusuya or that being an easy access thing.
Yeah, and what I've sort of gathered from it is Underworld and Moon are not required at all. The crystal is on the Earth. The pass is available in two locations, a key item location. That key item location is in the Land of Summoned Monsters, but there are free random chests on the Overworld or Underworld, and one of those locations is on the Overworld, and it's in Eblin Castle. So it's going to be a very quick go mode. It's then to be discovered how they want to go about fighting Zeromus. What's their best route for that?
And as far as additional access to characters, like Invenerable said, there's a free Edward in Massidia as well as Iridia, so we might see some Edward strats today, potentially.
that does seem the most likely. There are a few other locations. Watery Pass gives a teller, so that does give you access to a grind in the Giant of Babel, because the Darkness Crystal is in Eblin Castle as well. There's Young in Damsion. There, if you want a physical bruiser.
And one of the interesting things is, we know we're starting with Cecil, we know that Tella is easily accessible, but on Mount Ordeals, we know, because we can see, that there's a cloth robe waiting for them if they climb it. There is not a lot of incentive other than to get, Paladin Cecil and Tella's spells to climb Ordeals.
Yeah. And what other bosses for going up there? We've got Dark Imps, then Karate in the back attack spot, so we could have a round the world kick if they go up there. And the Dark Knight spot itself is Baigon, so it's a fairly free route up there, considering the bosses. But as you said, will they be tempted to go up there considering what's available, and do they really need Paladin Cecil for this?
Yeah, this looks to me to be very interesting, because we have easy access to Zeramus. Well, not relatively easy access to Zeramus early on, but taking advantage of that and preparing for Zeramus, I think, is going to be a big part of how this seed plays out.
Yeah. I'm sort of interested in if there's a crystal sword available, and there is. However, I only see the one, and it's at the Leviathan spot. So I don't think that Paladin Cecil is really going to come into play for that.
Yeah.
That would be a key sort of incentive to go up Ordeals for that massive amount of damage output that he can do with that weapon.
Looking through the Lunar Subterrae trap chest, doesn't look like there's a whole lot of value there. I mean, there's some okay equipment. There's Avenger, Rune Axe, stuff like that, but not a lot of key item incentive for them to hit the Subterrae trap chest.
The other thing they're going to have to do is pick and choose their chests, because if they're wanting to do Edward strats, for example, they're going to need star veils, they're going to need silk webs. That's a lot of money, so they're going to need to pick up that somewhere. Yeah, so which places do they choose? Yes. I'm just looking at the first town town of Baron, and there is a ninja katana there is a dragoon shield which sells for just over 30,000, so that's a good chunk of change. That could be their money to get everything they need.
Yeah, I'm looking through the item shops as well. There is some value in Kaipo, star veils and silk webs in the Kaipo item shop. Let's see.
Everything I'm hearing on this seed and looking at points to go do Edward strats, because everything you want for doing it seems to be on the overworld. Edward's there. You can get 5 characters easy to just clog queue. Star veils are automatically available in the overworld. You're going to get that crystal if you need something to trigger the counter nukes. You're going to have the silk webs for slowing down Zoromus are on the overworld. There's very little incentivizing anything else apart from that. At least that's how I'm seeing it.
Yeah, that I definitely tend to agree. It's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. There is some value in Underground as far as characters, potentially. They may decide to go after Tower of Zot to secure Rosa and Edge. But it's hard to say.
Yeah, we are at the 1 minute warning before everyone has been given the word go. just one last thing before we actually focus on the runners and what their particular route is really I see Eblan Castle being the play for everyone to go to, because it's got the Magma Key, it's got the Darkness Crystal, it's got a pass in it. It's pretty much the place to be today.
Some of that experience that's going to be very much needed here early on.
I see that Baka Shinobi is already blaming in people.
Should. So we should be kicking off here in just a moment. Oh, and it's the night is young. I'm sure we'll be blaming him quite a bit before it's all said and done.
So everyone is off. Let's see where they go. As we can see, there's our Porum, there's our Cecil, and there's our Baron Key. Our runners today, Baka Shinobi on the top left, Simbu on the top right, Antidale in the bottom left, and Dr. Cossack on the bottom right. All very good runners, all have been participating in either the Highway to the Venus Zone League recently, or the alternate version for those that didn't get there, the Hemingway Open. And I believe all of them did fairly well in their particular brackets, so this should be an interesting race between them.
4 definitely accomplished racers, and right off the bat, just veering in drastically different directions. We have Antidale and Dr. Cossack immediately going into Baron, checking out what we have going on here. Baka immediately to Eblan Castle, and Simbu, as expected, going for that Edward.
Yeah. Simbu is a big proponent of the Edward strats, and he's built them up a little bit more than what they were originally when Kirchin did them, and he's got a few interesting ideas on how to do that particular fight of his own, so we might see something different to what you would normally see in that.
Simbu right behind him, heading up Eblan Castle. Baka made quick work of the non-trap chests, and now he's hitting Damsian for the underground chests.
Looks like they've just picked up the pass and then bailed on everything else. So they're completely avoiding the Darkness Crystal. They're completely avoiding the Magma Crystal in those spots, or Magma Key. So they're focusing definitely on just picking up the crystal as soon as possible, using that pass to go to Zeromus.
Dr. Cossack's taking a moment to pick up Yang while they're here. And Baka and Antidale getting in on that sweet Edward action.
Yeah.
Simbu the first one to hit shops here, grabbing some life potions and some hourglasses.
Yeah, they've always had the same information that we've seen. There's going to be no surprises to them at all. They've probably mapped out their route in this particular 15 minutes. It's we saw sort of the writing on the wall, but nothing's always set in stone. There might be a few differences coming up.
Yep, we're in that prep phase now. The test is going to see how they deal with some of the early bosses that they might have to run up against here. And Baka making good use of that spoiler log, actually hitting up this early cave here to grab some random chests and probably pick up Tella.
Yeah. I was just wondering what was so interesting in the Damsian that they might all go to it for. And I'm seeing an Earth Hammer.
I think it's just for the money.
There's very little. Well, those two items do sell for 30,000, so just over 30,000. So that's possible.
I think it's just the quick check for the money, and then because we're seeing a lot of them move directly onto a shop right after. So yeah, I think they just grab these quick items to sell, make some money, and hit the shop. Get what you need.
Yeah, everything, and they are needing a lot of money for those silk webs and star veils and anything else. Life potions are fairly cheap, but you might need a few of them going into the final fight if you're going to be raising anyone. And Becker shows off a light show of a full screen of yellow escaping from this cave.
Simbu, meanwhile, has made the full circle, coming back to Baron, dancing dagger in hand. And Dr. Caustic's taking on the Antlion spot, going to take down Mylon Z.
Yeah. We must note that this fight that Dr. Cossack is doing is the first experience that's been gained by anyone so far, and it's 5 minutes in. Everyone's been avoiding fights completely.
And we know from looking at the spoiler log that all they're going to get here is an elixir.
Which isn't bad. It's a nice little pickup for that final fight, but if they're going in low level, it's very likely it's going to be death or survival.
Meanwhile, Simbu is taking on the Baron in here. Drogon, the runners actually have full access to the spoiler log throughout the race, and they were given 15 minutes to study the spoiler log before the race began to help set up whatever route they wanted to run for this race.
So if you see any pauses in their current running around, it's likely they are sort of looking into the spoiler log just to know, just to make sure there's something they want in this area.
Simbu making it through to Antlion now.
Yeah, and as I pointed out earlier, this spot does have a very high attack power, so it will one-shot everyone on his team. Luckily, it's very slow, especially with that silk web that's been thrown, but it's still going to be a little bit of a
slog.
Yeah, a little bit of a hairy fight if the turns don't turn out in the way they want.
Oh, Baka.
Dr. Cossack and Antidale are picking up the Sid from Hobbs, so maybe looking into a slightly different way of doing the final fight.
And maybe hoping that Sid will be a boon for that to have early on here. Yeah, that is a good call out, and then we do not have the agility agnostic flag active.
Yeah. So Dr. Cossack has just cleared out the west side of Hobbs as well, so I'm sort of interested in what he found up there, because I wasn't paying attention.
Well, Baka and Simbu are just slowly making their way through Antlion.
Elven Bow, Drain Sword, and a Buckless Wine. That Buckless Wine is probably the most valuable thing up there.
when you saw that brief pause while Auntie Dale is studying this spoiler log. Should I even go to that west side? Oh, hey, okay, there's some cool stuff. I'm gonna go.
There's some interesting stuff. It's not really that great, but it's there. But Simbu has picked up his crystal and is likely already prepped to go.
That is correct, Reiko.
Yeah. The way agility works is it is either based off of Cecil, under these flags with agility agnostic being off. It is either done by Cecil or the person in the middle slot.
And we officially have go mode for Baka and Simbu.
Yeah, and Simbu's wasting no time whatsoever.
I am so interested to see what Simbu's going to do here.
So, 40 star veils, 1 silk web, the crystal. Edward in the bottom slot, definitely, or moving to the top slot, definitely looks like he's setting up for Edward to be the hero that everyone deserves.
Simbu's just going all in, and I love it. And it looks like Baka might be thinking the same.
Yeah. Baka going in with a Sid anchor, while Simbu is going in with a Cecil anchor. But really, when you've got a cursed ring, anyone can be the anchor. Meanwhile, Dr. Cossack is going up against the Omega Sisters. I believe they're in for ball. Yes, they are. But we're 10 minutes in.
I was gonna say, who thought we'd be asking this question 11 minutes in?
Yeah,
but whose butt are we gonna kick tonight?
I'm sort of hoping it's Zero Ward or something like that. Just to compound the Edward strats even more. But yeah,
get your guesses in now. Who's it gonna be?
Yeah. As Accident says, Edward strats are not free. They require very specific timings and concentration throughout the fight. So it's now Edward versus Godzilla.
This seems very appropriate.
So if you thought there was even a shred of doubt, we can now call Edward the Kaiju Slayer.
Yeah. And the rest of the characters here are the buildings that Godzilla is going to smash.
Yep, and there's always a bit of collateral damage.
Behold the collateral damage.
Sid nearly survived. Which actually would have been bad because that would have wasted turns, but
he tried his Sid best.
Yeah, it's now the Edward show. Yeah. So basically how this is going to run is Edward is going to throw off a star bell. He's going to throw the crystal, or in this case a dancing dagger. That will change to crystal later. He will reflect the nuke, and on the shake he will hide. While he's hidden, the Big Bang will not hit anything because there's nothing there. Edward, going 2 spaces off to the right, somehow misses an entire Big Bang. Don't ask me how that works. He then comes back out. He then unhides during that. And if there's a virus, that will get reflected back, and then he will just restart bell after the black hole and rinse and repeat until Zeromus basically kills himself.
The timing here is very tight, though. If anything goes remotely wrong, they eat that big bang, it's done. It's over.
Yeah. And Simbu has done a lot of looking into this, and he's brought us along 20 Star Veils. So I'm sure that it's going to be enough. But there's always the possibility that these things do go wrong where there's one missed input, he has to skip a phase, and that Star Veil has been wasted. So 20 Star Veils might not be enough.
Simbu's right behind him.
Especially since the nukes don't actually do any more than 2,000 damage from Zeromus when being reflected. So he's basically getting 2,500 per in between each Big Bang, with maybe 5,000 between when there's a virus phase, which is every 3 turns, every 3 big bangs.
He's getting a little bit more with that dancing dagger, but not enough. Yeah, 20s, it seems tight, but I think Simbu knows what they're doing. But we'll see. It's going to be pretty tight.
Yeah, and the dancing daggers attacks that are happening now will have to stop, because if you go over the 42,000 mark and do direct damage, which the dancing dagger will do, you will hit the refill script for Zeromus, and then everything changes. He gets another 65,535 hit points, and you've got to pretty much resetting this situation.
According to Nightdew in chat, they think assuming 2,500 per Star Veil, 12 to 13 should get you a refill. And they're a lot smarter than I am, so I'm gonna take their word for it.
Yeah. Barker has had to reset a second time, so he might be looking into his options at the moment, but giving it another go. Antidale is breaking down trap chests, and Dr. Cossack is actually climbing ordeals.
So I've seen this done all of one time. For those in chat, or for yourself, Project, what's the point of the crosses they were buying there?
It's possible that he's going to use them instead of the crystal, because it has a shorter animation. But there's one issue that sometimes things that don't do any damage don't actually affect Zeromus and don't trigger that counter. So it might very well not be of use at all. I know that there are a few that you can throw at Zeromus, but they just don't do anything.
And you're remiss not to mention that amazing backwards around the world kick happening in the bottom right.
Yeah, well, if you're not watching that, you're watching Simbu, and they're on the same side of the screen, so you can watch both at the same time. Interesting.
Antidale, meanwhile, rolling in the dough, just picked up a whole bunch of Star Veils. So they may be thinking, it's go time.
Yeah. It's interesting that Dr. Cossack is going up ordeals, because the only reason to go up here is Spells for Teller and Paladin Cecil. And Cecil's best equipment that we could see is all gated by the Underworld.
Yeah, I might just be going for the spells, I'm not sure. I mean, they also don't have Edward, so they're not even remotely considering that strat, which if you're not, familiar with it or haven't practiced it, I wouldn't be tempted to do it either.
Antidale has met the real final boss, by the way. The Kaipo guard herself. The woman, the woman in the inn.
The true evil in this game.
Oh yes. I'm pretty sure she's related to the lady in Troya who tends to block the entrance to the town.
And Simbu is still dancing daggering, so I'm assuming probably keeping a close eye on that HP count and just kind of cutting it close.
It'll be interesting to see how many star bells he's got now. He's coming. He's actually negating a little bit by coming out after the black hole. So he's trying to stretch those star bells for as much as possible. I think he's realised that he might not have enough himself, so he's just going a little bit more safe in his own ways.
Baka's struggling a little bit there with the timing of it and the speed of Zeromus there. Unfortunately, ate the Big Bang. I had to reset.
Be interested to see what his battle speed was because Simbu did deliberately put his down to 3. If Baka had it at maybe 2 or just forgot to put it down, that might have tipped things in Zeromus' favour.
A moment to maybe look over the spoiler log, try to recoup here, come up with an alternative strat, and away they go.
Yeah, he has forfeited in SRL, but he's still sort of running around, so he might undo that if he feels he can still get this over and done with.
Either undoing or just going for fun at this point, hard to say.
Either way works for us. We like a bit of a show. Heck, he might even go and get the twin harp and do music for us.
Yeah, and I didn't notice, but Antidale now is on the moon, so I was wrong about going after that Edward strat with the star veils.
Yeah, he hasn't picked up the pass though. While he was in Eblan, so at least not according to our tracker. So it's likely that he just picked up the Darkness Crystal and is going with that.
Did Antidale even go after the actual crystal though? I don't think I caught them doing that.
He does have a Sid. Was that it? Was there a Sid at
looks like Baka's still in it, according to Inven, electing to reroute instead, so I guess they unforfeited. So glad to hear it. If anybody can recoup from it, it's Baka, so...
If Antidale has a yellow and brown Sid, he does have the crystal, since that's the one that Simbu has, which was at the Baron Inn.
Antidale does not.
Oh! So
does not have crystal at this point.
Yeah.
And yeah, no, neither does Dr. Cossack. Neither of them have gone for the crystal yet.
Interesting play. They should know where it is.
I did notice them going after Antlion, so.
Meanwhile, Simbu is still slogging away at this. Thank you, Nightdale. Nightu. 9 star veils remain.
So
I think he's got enough. In the way he's been very frugal with when he's been using those star veils.
The dancing dagger is off.
It's looking like he's reached a threshold where he feels safe.
And looks like Antidale had to reset, so they're redoing the beginning of the subturret here. Yeah, for Drogon in chat, this strat that Simbu's doing, it is by no means an easy strat. I mean, you saw Baka struggled with it quite a bit there. It is a very advanced strat, very tight timing. They're making it look very easy. It is anything but.
Okay, I'm just trying to see what Antidale might have been fighting that particular fight for. It was the Defossil Warlock, which would be a cursed ring. So if he's looking for a cursed ring, we know that there was one just sitting around. So, but now he's just fighting random fights.
Maybe just grinding.
Yeah. Maybe he's not too secure in the Edward strategies, because we've seen that they're very difficult to pull off. Simbu's making it look fairly easy, but they are not easy. So it would be difficult for someone to just go, yeah, I'll do it now, especially if they haven't practiced it at all.
Yeah, Drogon in chat, you make a good point there. I mean, like, Simbu has been at this fight at least almost 15 minutes now. That's a lot of consistency to hold up for this timing.
Yeah. This strategy is long. It's no way
and you have
quick.
So much to lose if you get this far in and fail.
Yeah. You cannot let up on the pace and the inputs at all. Otherwise, one mistake, that's a fail.
The other three at this point are in various locations right now. Two of them facing Trap Chest. Antidale is diving deeper into the subterranean.
Barker's facing the Staleman and the Skeleton Warrior chest. I believe that's the one for the Magma Key. No, that's the one for the Darkness Crystal. Yeah, Grue Whisperer, very, very little chance of that ever happening. This, considering he's only got one character left, and a life potion wouldn't be enough. Well, you could get Sid up, maybe, but that would be wasting inputs, and Simbu is a machine at this. He's just...
If they're calculating the HP that tightly, I'll give it to you that Simbu is in fact an android, if they did that. Because that's some pretty tight calculation of the HP to get to pull that off.
It's a tight calculation for the amount of Starvels he's done. He's been very frugal, he's been very specific about what he's been doing, and it's paying off for him. He's got 5 left, I think that showed. And I believe he's down to maybe 10,000, maybe less than 10,000 health on Zeromus to go.
I'm still just not sure quite what Antidale's looking for. They seem to have encounters enabled, but they're running away, so they're looking for a specific encounter.
Well, that's a single Warlock. Single Warlocks do either a single a physical attack or a weak spell, so that might be what he's going for. And otherwise, Simbu has finished in first. Time of 28:27. He's gone all the way through that fight for the last 17 and a half minutes, because he came on pretty much directly on 11 minutes. That's how long it took. He got through it.
Congratulations, Senbu. Well fought.
We're going to see if he wants to come in and talk to us about how easy he found it. And I do believe we've just been joined by Simbu. GG, and getting first. Seemed like a walk in the park today.
Yeah, I mean, I was asking Scala to roll our seed for us, but Invin insisted. Just classic Invin seed here.
Yeah, everything. As soon as we saw the spoiler log and just had a quick look through it, it was tailor-made for Edward Strats, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I was trying to find anything else I could route in, but it was like, there's nothing here. Like, the biggest thing I could route in was a big bomb out of Dampian to try to make the antlion faster, but I mean, I just couldn't find anything that was quick and easy to route in to speed up the seed, so it's like, yeah, we'll just go Edward.
Yeah, everything else was okay. Let's see if there's a crystal sword available. Leviathan spot. Nope. Let's see if there's anything on ordeals to incentivize that for Teller or Cecil. Nope. Miss Dragon? Didn't even look for that. Because what's the point? Starveils were on the overworld. The Silk Webs were on the overworld. Edward was on the overworld. Magma Key and Darkness Crystal were available, but so was a pass. So.
Yeah, I mean, I was even looking for things like heroine robes, and I think the only heroine robe is behind the hook, and it's like, oh, let me see where that was. That was behind something underground. Like, you had to go underground to get the... Yeah, it was in the Feymarch chest, so you had to go all the way underground to get the hook so you could get a heroine robe for Rydia, and it's like, well, that's not worth it. I mean...
Yeah. All the good stuff was gated by the underworld, it seemed.
Yeah, I mean, definitely a pretty interesting setup. So, but I mean, that's why we practice our Edward strats. Like, gotta flex on everybody.
Yeah, so that's what I was gonna ask. I mean, so obviously you have these Edward strats very well down. The only other featured runner we saw even attempt it was Baka, and they kind of struggled with it. Do you have any recommendations, like, for a good way to approach that or to get better at doing that?
So, I do actually have a tutorial video on it, but for the most part, everything is buffered by your enemy. If you're doing, like, what I was doing, it's, oh, he used a black hole, come out on the black hole. When he uses black hole, uses Starveil. When he does nothing, use your item to proc the nuke. And when he shakes, hide. When he uses Big Bang, unhide. I mean, for the most part, you have a actually very decent amount of time to do anything. The only time when you have to actually get an input in quickly is when you're using an item right after you use a Starveil, because you don't actually have an action that's being buffered there. But for the most part, you have actions that take a considerable amount of time, so it's not even a very small window you have, especially on Battle Speed 3. It's nothing that all you have to do is press up and A, and now you're locked in and you just have to choose the right item. So for the most part, I would say it's just a matter of being familiar with the fight enough to not get uncomfortable, because sweaty palms will do it to you. I noticed on this flag set, minus AA was not on, so you had to make sure that you anchored with your Cecil. I almost forgot about that and was going to use a baby Rydia to anchor for me, and that would have ended poorly, but...
We were keeping an eye out for it. We were going to see if you were going to do that or not.
Yeah, but No, I mean, there was a curse string right there, and it's like, oh, I should actually check that flag, because I remember it coming up when we were doing a practice for this, and oh yeah, CISOs are agility anchor. I mean, you can obviously kick him out of the party. We had free characters on, but honestly, I don't think, like, the Edward strats I did right now, there's nothing technically challenging about them. It's just really going by the script. If Zeromus does this, do this, and you memorize those 2 or 3 lines, and it's like I wasn't even paying attention half the fight. I was just doing tick marks to make sure that I stopped using the dancing dagger before I got to 45,000.
Heck yeah! So you put together a video for that. Is that on the Free Enterprise Discord?
I'm pretty sure it's linked in the newbies channel and the guides and resources. If not in, then should be in listening, and he'll put it there. I'm pretty sure it's already linked there, though. So
yeah, I do believe it is there. I have seen it on that particular page, so it should be there and ready for anyone to have a watch if they feel inclined.
Yeah, and for anybody new to us, that's just, check us out on FF4FE.com and check out our Discord for that guide and many others.
But yeah, I mean, honestly, a lot of it is not being scared of the fight, because what's going to get you there is sweaty palms. If you get tense and you think, oh no, something bad's going to happen, then you're going to overthink it and you're going to start mismenuing. So it's just sit back, relax, and sure, it might take you 20 minutes. I don't know exactly how long it took me. I think it was around 17 minutes.
17 minutes and 27 seconds. You went in exactly on 11 minutes on the timer on our screen.
Okay, so yeah, it takes a while when you don't have the spoon to speed things up or someone to do some of that initial damage, but as long as you just sit back and you're like, I'm committed to this, I'm just gonna enjoy the ride, then yeah, it's honestly not that bad, I think.
Just take a deep breath, stay consistent.
Yeah.
Just don't let nerves psych you out.
Yeah. I think a lot of the problems people have with the strat is they're scared they're going to mess something up, and then they start overthinking it, trying to account for things that just aren't going to happen. I mean, as I said, everything gets buffered by Zeromus pretty well, and if you're ever scared something's going wrong, just hide.
It's one of the instances where Zeromus's relative 1 agility actually plays against him.
Yeah, it's definitely really nice how everything is buffered up so that all the turns go pretty smoothly.
So, any other last thoughts about this before we focus on everyone else who are doing very different things to what you did?
No, I mean, maybe we can run another one. I've got time. Anyway, yeah, thanks for restreaming me, guys, and I look forward to watching it back later. Have fun with the rest of the race.
Thanks so much for joining us, Simbu.
So there's our first place finisher. Some say he's just that damn good, and he is.
And they'd be right.
But elsewhere, we have Dr. Cossack fighting Plague on the Moon, Antidel sorting out his inventory, not sure where he's going next, and Bakashobi shopping.
Feeling Antidale's heading to Barrett.
Yeah.
But it looks like Bach is heading back down to Earth. Oh, are they heading to Giant? Looks like they are. Going for that grind.
So Plague is at the Peldim spot. What does Peldim give us as an item? Excalibur. So we know what his plan is. He's going to buff up his Cecil to become the paladin he was meant to be.
Looks that way. And I assume, yeah, Baka's gonna probably go for a D-Machine grind here. I didn't look at the spoiler log for this section. I don't believe there was any items here. Earth.
Oh, unless he's going to go fight the 2 bosses and get a Palom for his troubles. Giant trap chest.
And I expect the Antidale is taking on.
It's just a sorcerer rogue from the last arm chest, so that the only thing he could be here for is the blind fight. Oh no, Invenerable might be right, yeah. This could be a...
I was gonna say, he doesn't have weak,
Mech Giant.
So.
Yeah, Mech Giant and grind is slightly different to a D-Machine grind. You fight... it sort of looks the same to start off with a searcher. But you're summoning these giants, which are weak against hammers, which Sid currently has equipped to him, and they only do physical attacks. So Blink is a good option to use, Moonveils is a very good option to use against these to pretty much evade all damage, and they give just a little bit less than D-Machines in actual experience. And you can keep summoning them over and over just by hitting that searcher. It's a little bit slower because you're going in this state. You're going to have to hit them a few times with Sid, but it's a little bit safer in a few occasions as well.
And I think if you're looking for an alternative to those Edward strats, like Simbu said, there isn't a whole lot of easy, quick options available in this seed.
Yeah. Antidale has picked up his crystal, so looks like he's heading off straight up to Zeromus as well now.
Yep, I think they are ready to go.
Meanwhile, Dr. Cossack is having a little bit of trouble with Plague here, but as long as he can keep some people alive, it should be okay.
Meanwhile, Dr. Cossack's still just slogging through Plague here.
Because Barker's not actually blinking Sid, I'm going to guess that he's got the Moonveil on him. Either that or some very heavy armor, so he's not really taking any damage in that back row.
Yeah,
It looks like he's finishing the fight. He's only done what, 3-4 mech giants. Maybe just doing a little mini grind to get some levels before heading further forward.
Yeah, we're just getting some levels and then gonna go back after it again to make wiping out the mech giants a little quicker the second time around.
Yeah, that's a very good possibility. Just giving Sid that extra little bit of strength boost and getting the Poison X for his troubles. Not that he's going to use that, but it's a find. You don't usually find that sort of thing. And Antidale is starting his Zeromus fight, so he's feeling confident enough to go and do this.
Alright, this time crystal in hand, ready to go.
So how confident is he with his strats here?
Yeah, might be willing to lean on Sid and Yang here, we'll see.
Would be an interesting way to go round it. They do have enough health to survive big bangs, but that's still touchy because the max amount of damage a Big Bang can do can be anywhere up to 2,400 to 2,700, depending which phase or time in the battle.
Would be sketchy.
And Sid and Yang aren't known to have high amounts of magical defense.
Got Edward hiding.
Dr. Cossack is on his way back and looking to head up to the giant himself. Maybe looking into that, looking into a grind, pick up Cecil as much as possible and then head to the rooms.
I'll say at this point the grind is on for 2 of our races while we see what Anti-Deal's going to do here.
It looks like he's giving Edward a little bit of a head start here by getting the damage out with Sid and Yang until they just die to that second Big Bang.
Not necessarily a bad way to go.
No, it's you've got quite a bit of leeway in that first phase. You've got to get up to 42,000 to 45,000. So he's well within that sort of threshold at this stage. Now it's just, can he keep concentrating enough to have Edward finish this fight?
I mean, well, Baka and Dr. Cossack are basically neck and neck here going after similar strats, but I think Dr. Cossack kind of has the slight edge with just party composition and levels already gained.
Yeah. There's a magnet on Teller. Magnet is basically stopped forever. Well, not forever, but a much, much longer time than is available in the universe. So really just don't let it go off, kill it before it happens.
Yeah, to Invenerable's point there, nothing taken away from Baka at all. The fact that they're still neck and neck after having a little bit of trouble with that Edward strat is a testament to their skill.
Yeah. Simbu, we think it is the battle speed related. We don't think he put it down to 3. I think he either left it on 2, left it on 1, or only put it down to 2.
Yeah, it seemed like speed was just getting away from him.
It also might be what he was using to try and initiate the counter nukes, because he bought some crosses, he bought a few other things, and we're not entirely sure if any of them actually worked to initiate that counter nuke.
Baka and Dr. Cossack, meanwhile, are just still continuing their grinds.
And Antidel is sort of keeping up the pace and just looking to do as much as possible, and is now flipping over to the crystal.
Letting Godzilla do his work for him.
Yeah. I think Simbu or anyone else might be able to just correct me if I'm wrong on this, but to initiate the counter-attack of the nuke, you actually have to have something that either damages or actually physically heals Zeromus. It can't be a status recovery item or anything like that. It has to be something that produces a number on Zeromus or the crystal.
No, I think status effects do it as well. Yeah, it just has to be a spell.
Okay. If it's a and the other part is if it's a status cleansing item, available says heal pots do it, but in the case of say crosses or antidotes, does Zeromus have to be afflicted with that for it actually to work? Because they don't have that status. Things like things like those spells usually fail if they don't have a status that's required. That's actually there.
It hits in that it successfully hits them. It's just it doesn't have anything to cure. So I believe it still does count.
Okay, so the crosses or things should have worked. Then that sort of points us back to a battle speed or agility issue that was there. So we'll see when he comes in after he's finished, just to see if that was the case. Dr. Cossack has found some D machines and is looking to pretty much do some damage. Hasn't got Teller in that middle slot, so there is the risk of these weeks sort of missing. And I'm not too sure how much wisdom he's got through stat items to actually have.
I think I saw a sorcerer, but I don't know if they have.
I know there was a charm rod that some of our people picked up in Damsion, so that might put him over the edge to actually hit his spells, but not being in that centre spot still does carry that risk of the weak fluffing. And Stell is also is still going at it, still in the concentration, so doing very well so far. Seems like he's got into the rhythm and is following through with it.
Yeah, found their groove and just working their way through it. Like Simu said, take that deep breath, stay consistent, don't let nerves get the better of you. And it looks like Dr. Cossack might be done with the D-Machine grind.
Only got about 270,000 experience there. I think he might have ended it a bit too early for his own liking. I think he hit it with Sid's hammer a few times too many. Or with Yang a few times too many. Then again, Cecil is at level 43, so he's at a very close agility to 28, so he might have been aiming for that all along.
Looks like going in for another one. At this point, just waiting game while HDL tries to stay consistent here, and our other two runners finish their grind.
Yeah. Barker's is looking like he's got in his groove now, two-shotting these, or sometimes three-shotting these mech giants just to pick up those levels that he's wanting. Probably aiming for White and Nuke on the twins here. So while we've got a little bit of downtime, we've said, Ned, before, feel free to check us out on www.ff4fe.com. That is our website for everything Final Fantasy IV-3 Enterprise related. It gives you a link to our Discord. It gives you a link to the where you actually pick up the seeds, to actually get involved and have a go at yourself. It's got links to guides, it's got links to a lot of things, and it's got some pretty cool pictures on there as well. So feel free to check it out, feel free to get involved, feel free to just have some fun with it, because this is a very, very in-depth randomizer. You can set it up as easy as you like, having items free in the shops, any item found in chests, or you can make it as hard as you like. I do know that coming up in the very near future, we've got a group of our best runners who's joining in with I believe it's the Questing for Glory marathon. And they're going to be showcasing some of the harder flag settings that you could do. They're going to be putting their sanity on the line for our pleasure. So there's that to look forward to. But yeah, there's plenty of people who are willing to help you on the Discord as well. Feel free to ask questions and just do anything you want.
Yeah, be sure to give our runners a follow, as well as our amazing restream team tonight, our tracker Crimson Avix, restreamer and Venerable, and the wonderful and talented Poitrak, who is carrying me this evening.
You're doing your fair share. I'm just here for, I'd say window dressing, but you can't see me, so...
I'm just here to meme.
Well, aren't we all? we're on the internet. It's natural.
Yeah.
Heck, half the bonuses of our wonderful extra options, the fab setting, which, as you can see, randomizes the character sprites. Right. We have the her flag, which actually randomizes the bomb that explodes in mist. We have the spoon flag, where Edward can equip the spoon, which is actually active today. If none of those are memes, I don't know what is.
Yes, our lovely and talented Scala Kitty is a meme-generating machine.
Yeah, and we've got one in the bottom left corner as well. We've got Godzilla. We're fighting Godzilla as a final boss. Yes. Antidel is still at the fight. We did say it was a long fight, but he's kept it up very well. He brought plenty of items along. He's used 12 out of his 50 star bells, so it's looking like he's fairly close to the end. Maybe in the next 15-20,000 he'll have this fight over with.
I believe Dr. Cossack is happy with the grind that they've done, and they're about ready to go.
Is taking the lunar well for a spin, because sometimes you just have to run around in a lunar airship.
And yet again, the Kaipo boss raises her ugly head.
Yeah, this time he's pushed her into the corner, so there shouldn't be any issue getting back out. And if there is, he's got Teller to say, nope, you can stay there, I'm using exit. I'm using the alternative exit. Barker looks like he's finally finished his grind, and there's Nukon Palom, so I'm assuming that Porum also has white available. Yeah, level 54, that's white territory, so...
That's pretty ready to go.
So he's probably just going to go and find that pass door, open it up again, say hello to Godzillamus, and say, this time I'm just going to beat you down.
So I'm assuming that maybe Dr. Cossack maybe found the pass at one point we might have missed. Otherwise, or they may be going to grab it right now.
The pass was in Eblin Castle, and we do know they've all been there and opened quite a few of the chests, so he should have it. And he is going to the person at the door, so
yep, he's got it.
Yeah. I don't think anyone, even though we've got three people who have opened the way to, who have got the magma key, actually opened the way to the underground and went down there. So underground
and,
not required. Moon was though.
And I just want to call it a GG to Anti-Tail for finishing second out of our featured runners with a time of 59:59. Very well done and congratulations.
Sub-hour. It may be only a second, but it's sub-hour.
And right at the hour mark, our other two runners are going for it.
Yeah. So it looks like we're going to have our restreamers wrap up this seed very shortly. I don't see there being any issues with this. Baka Shimobi's got some reflex strats in mind. Dr. Cossack is just going to beat the heck out of this Romus fight, right, with his overpowered warriors. And I do believe that beep beep means we've got Antidale with us. Congratulations on second place.
Antidale, you with us? Looks like they're working out some audio issues. We'll give them just a moment to see if they can work that out. And while we're doing that and getting this fight started, I would be remiss if we didn't give a quick shout out to Exodin. They made really this entire race possible by creating and hosting the spoiler log that we're using for this race. Just wanted to make sure we give that shout out to Exodin here this tonight. And yeah, we heard you, Antidale. Are you there? Can you hear us? Alright, so still some potential issues there. And gonna get this fight started with some bruiser tactics down in your bottom right corner and some reflect strats up in your top left corner.
Alright, can you hear me now?
I can. Can you hear us?
Alright, perfect. I can hear you guys now too.
Good deal.
That usually helps.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations for getting second place. How did it feel to go through that?
It was kind of nerve-wracking. I haven't actually done Eddie strats before, so I didn't know exactly how they went and had to look up in the middle of the race.
Well, you definitely made it seem a lot more safer than you were probably feeling they were.
Yeah, you made it look easy. Really well done.
Oh, thank you. There are a couple places where I could feel that I was doing it wrong, so I just paused for a second and let it come back around.
Yeah, we noticed that you went around quite a few places. You went up to the moon and did a few extra searches. Were you looking for anything else to do other than Edward strats?
That was mostly, I was hoping to save a little time by picking up some extra levels. And then I realized that I'd forgotten to do Baron In once I got to the Romus fight the first time. So that was fun.
Well, it definitely seemed to pan out for you. How do you feel about this format going forward?
I think it's really neat. It's a cool format. I definitely like to keep playing them. Would like to maybe see some modifications to where it's not all Edward strats all the time. But I like the 15-minute stuff.
Yeah, I think this one just kind of luck of the draw just geared itself towards that immediately.
Yeah,
For sure.
That Edward is freely available and there's going to be a character here. It's going to be pretty strong to just find the fastest way to Edward.
Let's just
Yeah,
blame
yeah,
Invenerable.
well,
He just wanted to see that. He wanted to see the Edward strats.
Oh yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I know Simbu wanted that too.
There was only one Edward. He was freely available, and everything was there for him to just become the hero of that seed. But going forward, it's likely Invenerable is going to mix up the flags, so this isn't going to become a constant. We're not going to see Edward be as strong as he could be every single time. There's plenty of give and take in the flags that will come in the future, I'm sure.
Oh, I'm sure too. It'd eventually get old, even if just the routing to Edward and looking at getting used to reading the spoiler log is going to be fun and interesting to do.
Edward's like a fine wine. He's great to use, but you don't want him every single time, every single day.
Or sometimes you just
Special
want different
occasions.
varieties of Edward. You want Spoonward sometimes, and sometimes you want Hideward. Get all the Eddie strats.
Got to mix it up.
Yeah, exactly.
And I didn't catch what happened on Dr. Koski's side here. It looks like that we got a reset. And they're traveling, so they must be missing something.
Yeah, he doesn't have many levels on his on his forum, so likely just couldn't keep up with the healing.
All right, well, Antidale, I really appreciate you taking a moment to join us tonight, and congratulations again on that second place finish. That was impressively done.
All right, thank you. Thanks for the restream and the interview, and thanks for tracking and all that. It was a lot of fun.
Thanks so much. Have a great night.
Thanks, you too.
So while we were speaking to Antidale, well, Barker Shinobi has finished in third place with 1 hour, 5 minutes and 34 seconds. You thought he was going to not finish this seed, but that forfeit was undone, and he's finished. And we're hoping
And
to
in
get
third
him in.
place.
Yeah, so we're hoping to get him in and discuss how he felt things went wrong. Most likely will be the biggest subject here.
And meanwhile, maybe going after that crystal sword.
Possibly. But if he's got go for the crystal sword, it might be better to just go for the Avenger on the moon.
Maybe, hard to tell. Well, maybe not.
But then again, who knows what people are thinking at this time. He's had one go at Zeromus. He's probably thinking, and I could have done something else, and is looking for that way.
Yeah, maybe just getting a little bit extra padding.
Definitely going to need a few more levels on that poem if he's going to really get into that Z fight easier.
Baka, welcome.
Hi. That was... yeah, don't do Edward strats if you haven't practiced Edward strats. It was clearly the optimal thing to do there because you get Crystal and pass Overworld through some easy fights that you can just cheese with a Moon Veil. And yeah, that's a pretty good way to win.
Everything was set out for it, wasn't it? What do you think went wrong in that fight?
I have no idea how to do Edward strats. That was just the biggest thing. I know the theory of them, but getting the timing down, I was noticing the time just wasn't working. I couldn't go and get the turn that I needed to get for how it was supposed to work. So, yeah.
What
That's
battle speed
understandable.
did you have it at?
3, then 4.
Oh.
I don't know if I ever managed to successfully get a Silk Web off or something. I don't know. I was doing something wrong. That's all that came down to. So.
Well, all things considered, kudos to you for hanging in there and finishing in third. That's still very impressive, all things considered. Like, you hung in there, you finished, and still finished ahead. So I think that's still a testament to your skill.
I get bailed out by Form Beyond the Moon, or Howling Beyond the Moon, and being able to go and get a Darkness Crystal easily. That, Giant's a great place to grind if you have a Sid with a hammer.
It helps. How do you feel about this format going forward? Do you like it?
I do, though. I think we're going to run into a number of times where the dominant strategy is Edward strats, unless something has changed about some part of this. So I'm curious to see if that comes up more. It's an interesting strategy. It's a very tactical fight that is difficult to do, but it's also a very low requirement strat, so I can see that.
I mean, you're the third runner to bring it up, so I have a feeling it's going to get gated. I would be surprised if it's not. I mean, even Simbu's like, yeah, it's going to get gated after this.
yeah, it's one of those things where, like, apple seeds are only fun every so often just because there's so much of the game that gets taken out of them. This is something where it's that too, where you don't need... There's a lot of... It's easy to go and get to the requirements to kill Zeromus without having to go and, deal with a lot of mechanics, so...
Yeah, when it comes down to something like this, it's just Edward strats or bust.
Yeah, like, unless Edward isn't around, or there's no pass, or Crystal's buried deep on the moon, you need to have a team that can kill stuff anyways. Yeah, Edward strats are going to be the predominant strategy for a fast format like this.
But as I've brought up with other people, it's just there's still a lot of give and take in the flags that can come up. So we are going to see changes. It's not going to be the same thing. It might come up 2 or 3 more times out of 4, but there's still a lot of changes that can be made and can be improved upon.
Oh yeah, no, I expect this is it's the first race we did like this. I think we're gonna there's a lot of feeling out. I think there's a lot of figuring out exactly how much time people need to go and make a good strategy, because it's hard. There's a lot of information to go through. You need to look at equipment, you need to look at characters, key items, what spots you have to hit. You have to sort that out. Some seeds are going to be more complicated than others. I think this is a great format, and I'm excited to do more of these in the future, especially if there's less Edward going on.
Yeah, it's still in its early stages. Once it's become a bit more ironed out, it's going to be a very interesting thing. I was sort of wanting to run today, but I also wanted to see how other people came about it, went at this type of situation, and I've learned quite a bit on how I would route things myself in future races. So beware for that.
Oh yeah, this is going to be a very fun format, just because there's going to be a lot of, I think the meta is going to develop very quickly, and people are going to go and start, we'll settle into some things, we'll learn, what do we do without Darkness Crystal being around? What do we go and do when we have J spells on, like tonight? It's going to be very fun. I'm looking forward to more of these. There's a lot we can do with these flag sets, and there's just a lot that can be done. I don't think KT is an issue, to be entirely honest. I think KT it's a different way. I think this just has a lot of ways of playing, and with all the different ways of, with looking at stuff in the future, I think we're going to have a lot of fun ways of playing this.
Yeah, and that's also the thing I sort of want to bring up is Saturday nights is going to be a variety night. This isn't going to be a constant thing every week. Invenerable has got a number of different things lined up. He's got 2v2s that are going to be lined up. He's got a few other ideas that he's going to bring to light in the next few weeks. Saturday is not set in stone to be just this. You're going to see a lot of different types of races. There's some structured, some not so much.
And I'll be looking forward to all of them.
All right. So, do you have any other remarks you'd like to make tonight?
I think everyone should go and try this, because it's a very interesting way of playing free enterprise, and I mean, it was a bit frustrating for myself tonight because I tried I tried to do what I knew was the correct way to do this and couldn't do it, so I fell back into Plan B after losing all my time routing. But it's still really fun. It's still a great way to learn a lot about how to play Free Enterprise, and seeing how very good runners route this will be very interesting. I'm curious to see what the timing was for when Simbu and I went into Zeromas the first times.
Neck and neck.
Okay.
It was exactly 11 minutes on the clock that you both went in.
Yeah, exact same time.
Well, if I could have executed, then it would have been a tighter race, but still, this is going to be, I'm looking forward to more of this in the future.
All right, well, I appreciate you joining us here for a quick interview, and thanks for hanging in there and finishing. Like, it was impressive to see you reroute on the fly like that, and you gave us a good show, so thank you for that, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you for commentating, and thank everyone for tracking and restreaming.
Well, have a good night.
You too.
All right, so it looks like Dr. Cossack's back at it again, hoping to have a little bit of better results this time. Struggling a little bit keeping up the healing through this leg.
Yeah, it's been brought up that his Cecil might be 27 agility instead of the 28 that is optimal. So that could be putting a little bit of a dent in his agility plans. Also, Porum not being at least level 48 for Cure 4 is very detrimental, because got to rely on Cure 3s, and that doesn't do a whole lot, especially since there's been not really a lot of equipment picked up for the casters, I believe.
Looks like he's getting a little clever using the crystal to trigger the counter nuke, try to nerf those big bangs to mitigate the damage here.
Yeah, but Porum's in that sort of stage that at 1300, even a neutered Big Bang could still roll high enough to just wipe her out.
Yeah, I'm definitely cutting it close here no matter how he goes about it.
He's relying a bit more on Sid to do some alchemist style with Cure Freeze, but wow, that counter nuke was a little over the top, and Cecil was going to go down here.
Yeah, didn't get that elixir off in time. Cecil's gonna go down. And not nerfed.
And there goes the elixir, so that's going to be wasted as well.
Yeah, it's
and
gonna be
the
a
follow-up
reset.
virus, which is done. And it has been confirmed that Dr. Cossack, after that wipe, has forfeited from the race. It just not panning out for him the way he wanted it today.
Just didn't quite go their way. You hate to see it, but it does happen. But GG to Dr. Cossack for a good attempt. Can't take anything away from it. That was a good attempt.
So we're just going to see if he wants to come in to have a quick word, and
and while we're waiting on that, this is our 15-minute spoiler challenge. I think we're going to see some more of this here in the future, where our runners are able to see 15 minutes to plan out their destiny, so to speak, and get a look and know where everything's going to be at ahead of time. Definitely an interesting format for sure.
Yeah, and Dr. Cossack probably rightfully a little bit frustrated. It has decided just to say that's enough. I don't want to bring it into the stream right now, so well done and for sticking with it as long as you did, having those multiple attempts. Hopefully next time it'll be a bit more forgiving for you.
Yeah, for sure. And I want to shout out one more time to Exodus for creating and hosting the spoiler log we used tonight to make this happen, and Invenerable for pushing this format out here for us. It was definitely entertaining. I definitely enjoyed it. So thank you to both of them.
But this isn't the end of our free enterprise streams or stuff, we have pretty much an entire weekend, every weekend, of free enterprise. It starts on a Friday evening with our community race. It continues on a Saturday evening with our Saturday variety night. On Monday evenings, there's another community race which anyone can join into. Just jump in. That's as simple as matter. And technically on Sunday nights, I do provide a little community random flag. If you want to join in on that. It's completely unofficial, so you don't have to, but it's there. And there's always other races, asynchronous races, pickup races happening throughout the entire week. So feel free, just jumping in, have a bit of fun, see how well you do. See how well you stack up against some of our runners. Who knows? You might be the next Simbu, running as the winner.
Never know till you try. All right, well, we're getting ready to kick this off and send this over to Kid of Seth, who is doing some free enterprise and giving this a go as we speak. For our restream team of Crimson Avix and Venerable and the talented Poidrag doing commentary for me, I just want to thank everybody for joining us tonight. Before we sign off here, I believe we'll be kicking it over to them in just a moment. And hope everyone has a great evening.
Yeah, have a good one.
Womp womp.
Okay, we're actually going to Couch 23 because big friend of the community. So yeah, Invenerable's trying to send us over to the mature channels.
Yeah, so
Blame
let's
Invenerable.
give our friend Catch 23 some love, and we're gonna send it over to them now. Thanks again for joining us, and have a good night.